This is the story of two generations of a photographic family. Morris Rosenfeld, the elder, who immigrates to America from Eastern Europe with his parents. He's at the age of 2. The family settles in New York, and this is early 20th century, and he is bitten by the photography bug. It's got various applications in journalism, in advertising, and he trains and sets up his own photo studio in New York. And almost from the start, he's drawn to the water. He becomes a yachting photographer. He sells photos to the leading yachting journals of the day, the Rudder and Yachting Magazine, as well as others. And he ends up doing a lot of advertising photography, motorboat company or Johnson Outboard company or something wants to do a shot of whatever their new product is, probably for advertising in these same magazines, and he stages those shots. In this same vein, he continues on throughout his career and ultimately brings his son Stanley Rosenfeld into the photo studio as well. And so Stanley continues on just as renowned a photographer as his father into the 1980s. And so women was anything but a focus for them. And in fact, it was Stanley Morris's daughter-in-law, Maggie Anderson, who curated this, went through thousands. There are nearly a million images in Mystic Seaport's collection from the Rosenfelds. She went through who knows how many and culled out where the women showed up in advertising photography, in the yachting photography, in other jobs that they did. So not all of these have anything to do with the water. There are some shots that are women in manufacturing in the New York area, Western Electric Company and others. There are women in sports, not just yachting, but tennis and other sports. There are women doing in other endeavors of life, women in caregiving roles as nurses and such. That these photographers shot on for one job or another. They did not seek out to document women and their progress through the 20th century. This was incidental to what they captured, and it took their daughter-in-law's eye to be able to cull this out and say, there's another story here. The story is of the progress, the change of women's roles in America through the 20th century. So in the earliest images, we see some society shots. We see women at the Larchmont Yacht Club on Ladies' Day. And what are their roles? They are receiving rides in rowboats. They are spectators on shore. But as time goes on, you see Phyllis Sopwith, wife of Thomas Sopwith, the challenger to the America's Cup, at the helm, taking command. Women during wartime taking jobs that formerly only men did. We see all that kind of social progress that where those opportunities open to women as 20th century America unfolds.
In fact, Pete and I have just returned from CAM, the Council for our annual Council for American Maritime Museum conference. There are now a number of women who are either heading up maritime museums or in senior management roles with those maritime museums, and that's a really good thing. We have a really great number of women on our board now. That would not 10, 15 years ago, that would have been unheard of, women on the board. The fact we now have a woman, Diane Staley, as chair of the board, that was definitely unheard of 10, maybe 15 plus years ago. The really great stories of this exhibition, the Rosenfeld exhibition, is that 47 women underwrote the exhibition. And we have this fantastic panel here with all their names on it. And I'm really, really proud that everybody, when we called them or met with them, jumped at the occasion to lend their support to bringing this exhibition to the museum. Yeah. Very, very proud.